everyone, we're going to continue the Westing game, chapters 16 and 17. The third bomb. Boom! Grace Wexler slammed the door on the delivery boy's silly face and returned to her party with a pink ribboned gift. The gossiping guests were sipping jasmine tea from Westing paper party cups, nibbling on tidbits from Westing paper party plates, and wiping their fingers on Westing paper party napkins. Madame Hu served in a tight-fitting silk gown slit high up her thigh, a costume as old-fashioned and impractical as bound feet. Women in China wore blouses and pants and jackets. That's what she would wear when she got home. Grace clapped her hands for attention. Girls, it's time for the bride-to-be to open her presents. Angela, you sit here and everybody gather round. Angela did as her mother said. She lowered herself to a cushion on the floor, ringed by gift boxes and surrounded by vaguely familiar faces. She had not invited her few friends from college. They were bent on careers. This wasn't their thing. These were her mother's friends and the newly married daughters of her mother's friends, and Turtle, who was leaning against the wall, arms folded, smirking. Lucky Turtle, the neglected child. Read it out loud, dear, Grace ordered as Angela opened the card tied to the yellow ribboned box. To the bride-to-be in the kitchen stuck. An asparagus cooker and lots of luck. From Cookie Barfspringer. Thank you, Angela said, wondering which one was the Barfspringer. The next gift was an egg poacher. The box and pink ribbons contained another asparagus cooker. I sure hope Dr. Deer likes asparagus, someone remarked. The giver said she could return it for something else, although two might come in handy. A doctor's wife has so much entertaining to do. Angela glanced at her watch and reached for the tall, thin carton wrapped in gold foil. Look how Angela's hands are shaking. She's as nervous as a groom. Giggles. Bride-to-be jitters. More giggles. Slowly, Angela unknotted the gold ribbon. Carefully, she unfolded the gold foil. How neatly she did everything. The perfect child. Not like Turtle, who ripped off wrappings, impatient to see what was inside. Hurry up, Angela. You're such a poke, Turtle complained. Suddenly, there she was, kneeling down to peek under the lid. Get away! Angela cried, jerking the gift up and away from her sister as the lid blasted off with a shattering bang. Bang! Bang! A rapid rat-a-tat-tat. Rockets shooting, fireballs bursting, comets shrieking, sparks sizzling. 24 framed flower prints falling off the wall. Then it was over. Screams hushed to whimpers, and the trembling guests crawled out from under tables and peered out of closets. Is anyone hurt? Grace Wexler asked nervously. Other than being scared out of 10 years of their lives, thank you, they were fine. Where's Angela? Angela was still seated on the cushion in the middle of the floor. Fragments of the scorched box lay in her burned hands. Blood oozed from an angry gash on her cheek and trickled down her beautiful face. Heirs beware, Sam Westing had warned. They should have listened. Now it was too late. The suspicious heirs gathered in the lobby around the police captain called in by Judge Ford. One of them was a murderer, they thought, and one of them was a bomber, and one of them was a thief. But which one was which, and who was who? Or could it be one and the same? Some game, Mr. Hu grumbled, unwrapping a chocolate bar. One ulcer wasn't enough. Sam Westing had to give him 3 more. Some game, the last one alive, wins. Now there's a likely suspect, Otis Amber thought. Who, the inventor? Who, the angry man? The madman? The last one alive wins, Flora Baumbeck repeated. Oh my, what a terrible thing to say. Can't trust that dressmaker, Mr. Hu thought. How come she's grinning at a time like this? The captain offered no help at all. Neither the bomb squad nor the burglary detail has enough evidence to search the apartments, he explained. You call that justice? Sandy asked. Good-natured Sandy couldn't be the one. He wasn't in the building when the first 2 bombs went off, or when the judge's watch was stolen. Jake Wexler thought. On the other hand, he sure did hate Sam Westing. Yes, Mr. McSuthers, justice is exactly what I call it. Not her, not the judge, in spite of the clues, Chris thought. Unless she's one of those Black Panthers in disguise. Those weren't gas explosions. Those were bombs, right? Theo pressed the captain. A nice kid, that Theo. Doug, too, Flora Baumbeck thought. But how often has she seen television interviews of next-door neighbors saying, "Can't believe he killed 13 people. He was such a nice kid." Oh my, what's gotten into me, thinking such a thing? The captain would not call them bombs. More like childish pranks, he said. Childish pranks? That brat's capable of anything. Turtle stuck out her tongue at the sneering Doug Who. Evil pranks of the devil, Crow muttered. Her blessed Angela was almost killed. Crow could be the one. Bring hellfire down on all of us, Theo whispered to Chris. But she wasn't in the building when the first 2 bombs went off. Yes, she was. No, she wasn't. The captain described the so-called bombs. Just a few fireworks triggered by a squat striped candle set in a tall open jar. The ribbon probably hid the air holes in the box. No one would have been hurt if the young lady had not tilted the box toward herself. A time bomb, Grace Wexler said, glaring at the person who delivered the gifts. An unhappy woman, that self-appointed heiress, the judge thought. Unfulfilled, possibly disturbed. Capable of the burglaries, perhaps, but not the bombings. She wouldn't have hurt her own daughter, at least not Angela. Don't look at me like that, Otis Amber shouted at Mrs. Wexler. I don't own no striped candles, or no fireworks neither. That idiot is the likeliest of all, Grace thought, but he wasn't around when the coffee shop blew up. Ah! The excitement was too much for Chris Theodorakis. That was one heir no one suspected. And Angela, of course, no one could suspect her. Otis Amber was not even sure of that. Still waters run deep, he said. He he he. Turtle could not let him get away with that, even if it was true. Otis Amber limps, Chris noted the next day. Her family kept reassuring her. You're going to be fine, Angela, just fine. The loud snore that erupted from the next hospital bed was Seidel Pulaski pretending to be asleep. I still don't remember, Angela mumbled. Her bandaged cheek made speaking difficult. Her face hurt, her hands hurt very much. Traumatic amnesia, Jake Wexler said. It happens after sudden accidents. Don't worry, Angie Pie, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine, Angela, just fine, Grace said despondently. I'll be back tomorrow. Come, Turtle. In a minute. Turtle waited for the door to close. She touched her sister's bandaged hand. Thanks. For what? Another snore from Seidel. Just thanks. The fireworks would have gone off in my face if you hadn't pulled the box toward you. Here, I brought your tapestry bag. I didn't look at your notes or clues, honest. But she had removed the incriminating evidence. Turtle, tell me the truth. How bad is it? The doctor had to take some glass out of your hands, but no stitches. The burns will heal okay. And my face? Some scarring. Not bad, really, Angela. Besides, you always said being pretty wasn't important. It's who you really are that counts. Angela wondered about that. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe pretty was important. Maybe she was crazy. She must have been crazy. Don't worry, you're still pretty, Turtle said. But wow, that sure was a dumb thing to do. Seidel Pulaski's eye popped open in surprise. Quickly, she squeezed them shut and uttered another loud snore. Well, what do you know? Her sweet, saintly partner was the bomber. Good for her! Chapter 17, Some Solutions. Monday was a gray, rainy day. Depressing. So was the stock market, which fell another 6 points. Turtle was jittery. All the heirs were jittery. The bomb squad was called in several times to examine suspicious parcels. One turned out to be a sealed vacuum cleaner bag full of dust that Crow had set behind the incinerator door. Another was a box delivered to Mrs. Wexler. In it were bonbons, her favorite, and a note. Love and kisses, Jake. What do you mean? How come? Can't I send candy to my wife without getting the 3rd degree? I thought you were looking on the thin side, okay? Grace made him eat the first piece. The next day, Grace received a larger box. In it, the bomb squad found 12 long-stemmed roses and a note. For no reason at all, just love. Jake. The bomb squad was called again when Turtle ran after her partner through the lobby shouting, Mrs. Baumback! Mrs. Baumback! Someone thought she had shouted, bomb, bomb. A hollow wind wailed through damp Tuesday. In the morning, the stock market rose 3 points. Bullish, said Flora Baumback. In the afternoon, the market dropped 5 points. Bearish, said Flora Baumback. Those were the only 2 trading terms she had learned. Madam Who, a quicker student than the dressmaker, had learned more words. Partner, money, house, tree, road, pots, pans, Okay, football, good, rain, spare ribs. Her teacher, Jake Wexler, visited her in the kitchen before he sat down to his daily lunch in the Chinese restaurant. Today, his wife and Jimmy Hu agreed to eat with their only customer on the promise that he would help him with their clues and not take a share of the inheritance if they won. Grace laid their 5 words on the table. These are clues? Jake looked down on purple waves for fruited sea. He switched 2 squares of Westing super strength towels. Purple fruited. Makes more sense. How about grapes or plums? Grace was about to insist on purple waves, but plums reminded her of something. Plum, she said aloud. Plum. Wasn't the lawyer's name Plum? You're right, Grace, Mr. Hu said excitedly. You're absolutely right. He tore one of the clues in 2. Fruit, Ed. Ed, purple fruit. Ed Plum. We got it, Grace cried, leaping up to embrace her partner. I never did trust lawyers, Mr. Hu shouted gleefully. What about the other clues? 4C waves. Jake asked, but the happy hugging and dancing celebrating pair did not hear him. Boom, said Madame Hu, placing a plate of spare ribs on the table. That word she had learned from Otis Amber. Sandy was proud of the notebook he bought, with its glossy cover photograph of a bald eagle in flight. Sort of appropriate, he explained to the judge. Fits in with the Uncle Sam and all that. In it, he painstakingly entered the information culled from reports the private detective delivered each day to Judge Ford's office. Photostats of birth certificates, death notices, marriage licenses, driver's licenses, vehicular accident reports, criminal records, hospital records, school records. To these, the doorman added the results of his own snooping. My investigator is having a difficult time getting into the not-so-public records of Westingtown, the judge said. We'll have to put the Westings aside and begin with the heirs. Since we're feasting on chicken with water chestnuts, Sandy said, I'll start off with the Whos. Doug had delivered down. He read aloud from his entry. Hu, James Shin Hu. Born, James Hu in Chicago. Age, 50. Added Shin to his name when he went into the restaurant business because it sounded more Chinese. First wife died of cancer 5 years ago. Married again last year. Has 1 son, Douglas. Son Lin Hu, age 28. Born in China. Immigrated from Hong Kong 2 years ago. Gossip. James Hu married her for her 100-year-old sauce. Douglas Hu, called Doug. Age 18. High school track star. Is competing in Saturday's track meet against college milers. Westing connection. Hu sued Sarah Westing over the invention of the disposable paper diaper. Case never came to court. Westing disappeared. Settled with the company last year for $25,000. Thinks he was cheated. Latest invention? Paper inner soles. I can take some credit for those paper inner soles, Sandy bragged. My feet were killing me, standing at the door all day, so I said to Jimmy, if only somebody would invent a good inner sole that didn't take up so much room like those foam rubber things. And sure enough, he did it. They're great. I got a pair of my shoes now. Want to see? No, thank you. The judge was eating. It was past midnight when Theo finished his homework in the dim light of the study lamp. The wind was still howling and something, a word, a phrase, was still eluding him. He had been studying solutions in chemistry. Solutions. That was it. The solution is simple, the will said. He was sure of it. By changing 4 and the to the numbers 4 and 3, Theo was able to arrange the clues into a formula. Whether or not it was a chemical solution, let alone the Westing solution, was another matter. NH is 4 no V 2 equals NH4NO3. Before clue letters were left out. Isto, Osit, Itso, Otis. Otis! He had it, a formula for an explosive and a name of the murderer. He had to tell Doug. And here's what the letters looked like. Where going? Shh. Theo smoothed the blanket over his sleepy brother in the next bed, struggled into his bathrobe, and stumbled over the wheelchair as he tiptoed out of the room. The elevator made too much noise. Use the stairs. The cement was cold. He had forgotten his slippers. 2 unmarked doors. Which one? Tap, tap, tap. A grunting voice, dragging footsteps. Please let it be Doug, not Mr. Who or Judge Ford. It was Crow. Clutching a robe about her gaunt frame, her unknotted hair hanging long and limp, she tried to focus her dulled eyes on the shocked face of her visitor. Theo! Theo! The wind! I heard the wind! I knew you would come. Me? Grasping his hand, she pulled him into the maid's apartment between 4C and 4D and shut the door. We are sinners, yet shall we be saved. Let us pray for deliverance. Then you must go to your angel. Take her away. Theo found himself kneeling on the bare floor next to the praying crow. He must be dreaming. Amen. And that ends chapter 17.